All right, it's day 5, and it still feels good to say it. Donald Trump, you're fired. I don't hate the guy. I really don't. I'm sure there's at least a couple of people who will see this who will, oh yeah, sure. I really don't. I think if we understand ourselves well enough, it's impossible for us not to begin to understand others better. I think the more work we do on ourselves, this has been my experience, the more we work on our inner life, more we cultivate peace in here and in here, like something you would grow in a garden. Oh, by the way, I like to hang with my plants, and this is called a desert. This is called a desert rose. It's very young. It hasn't blossomed yet, but when it is ready, it'll have white and pink flowers, like flowers that are white and pink, 2 colors. Peace is something we can grow. But most of us in our culture, unless we are raised in some strange kind of hippie family or something, we are only sensitive to really like big sensations, like good and bad feelings. We can't tell when it's just not easy for us to tell when there are subtle shifts. Like, my experience has been every time I say something false, it haunts me so much. It's like the image I use for it is it's like a splinter goes in the mind, and it's not easy to feel the effect of that splinter, but over time it becomes a weight on the mind. And then someone I know that has said some really, really crazy things over the years, and I've quoted this person, and I will quote this person again without naming the name. This person told me one time and wound up at the doctor trying to deal with some depression because he was experiencing something he called causeless suffering. And I was like, even many years ago, I was like, I don't think that's a thing. I don't think causeless suffering is a thing. Suffering is our minds latching onto something painful and dragging it through time with us. My experience is pain is necessary in life. For all of us, there is pain and there is pleasure. It's unavoidable because the first time we've laughed as an infant, we've checked the pleasure box. The first time we skin our knee, or we're toddler running around, we bump our head or something, or take a tumble, we've checked the pain box. So there's really nothing we can do about that, but we don't have to hold on to good or bad things and drag them along with us. That's suffering, in my experience. The reason I don't hate Donald Trump is because he's one of the most miserable creatures who's ever walked the face of the earth. He's absolutely a miserable person, I think. I think all his blustering and posturing, he's miserable. And he's old, and I think he's dying. Not quickly. I don't think he's like terminal or anything. But he's old enough that he's having health problems. There's a lot of speculation about this in the media and the news. And what frightens me about him is I mean, I'm not frightened of him, but what wigs me out about the situation is I don't think he will leave peacefully. I heard just the other day, or maybe it was even yesterday, I can't remember, but he was talking about something like no future president is going to be safe, if they're not having this inauguration in my bulletproof ballroom. It's kind of like eerily similar to that line Jack Nicholson's gangster character in the beginning of The Departed. Remember this Scorsese film? He says, yeah, some people maybe, he's like talking about people who had a problem with the way he was doing business, and he's like, maybe, something happened to him. And then they cut to some scenes of relatively extreme violence. It's kind of like, I mean, I can't get over it. The open insider trading on and comparing himself to Stalin and Hitler, the most powerful men in the. I don't consider those to be powerful men. I don't care what influence you had, how many troops you commanded, or how many people you killed. That doesn't make you a powerful person. Those men could never make something like the Grand Canyon with their two hands. That's power. All it took was the Colorado River doing what it does for a really, really long time, not giving up at it. Real power is a person getting hurt badly, devastated somehow, picking herself up. Someone absorbing something really dark and not spilling it on to others. That's real power. The ability to be quiet here when the pressure is on. The ability to have stillness here when there's so much seeming chaos about. To be the cool little center of it all. To remain calm under pressure. To have courage under fire. That's real power. The ability to surrender the will of the mind from moment to moment. To relax into the moment and trust that it's gonna be all right, even if this silly thing doesn't get what it wants all the time. This guy, Chwampu, I can't help it with the names. I am trying. I'm doing my best here too. You're doing your best. Maybe you haven't reposted this yet or sent it to anybody, and that's your best. Fine. Or done something on your own. Doesn't have to be this. My go-to advice comes from the first Star Wars movie. I say it to everybody. If it comes down to it, my one piece of advice that I give anybody is you do what feels right for you. Guys, I'm like a super nerd. Look at this. I got Orabesh tattooed on my shoulder, man. You see that? That's cuneiform there on the, I guess it's the left. I don't know if is this flipped? No, it's not. I don't think it is. Yeah, so anyway, the thinner line there is Orabesh. It says, remember your failure at the cave, which is Yoda's farewell advice to Luke Skywalker on Dagobah. He's going to Bespin because he had this vision of his friends in trouble in the cave. Remember your failure at the cave. If you know Empire and you know the story, you know what happened to Luke in that cave, and that was the hardest lesson he ever had to learn. If I lift one finger in anger against that which I would seek to rid the world of, I will become that. In A New Hope, Obi-Wan says, the Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack. So you might say, oh, you're attacking Trump. No, not the way I see it. I'm defending this country from the greatest existential threat it's faced since the Civil War. In fact, I've written one poem in Japanese in my life, and it's very short, it's very quaint. Very likely it's grammatically incorrect. I will stand to be corrected, like I say often. But it fits here, so I'm gonna say it. Ore no yasashiku moi ga chikyu o mamoru tsumori da. It means my gentle rage will protect the earth. I don't want this to go too long, not longer than 15 minutes tonight. Because the last night was a long one. What I really want to say tonight on day 5 is this, what I've been thinking about. I just finished that Japanese film. I love it so much. It rips me up every time because there's a miracle that happens in it. And when I say miracle, that's another loaded term. I have a symbol for that. I think it's cool. We have a symbol for that. This is my first tattoo. I call it a blesser act. It means miracle. It means something seems impossible but happens anyway. And that's not my words, that definition. I got that from Men in Black 3, of all places. And you might be laughing, like, oh, but I call it the Sonnenfeldian definition. Or maybe, I don't know if maybe the guy, he would prefer we call it after the name of the guy who wrote that film. And I just saw it recently, and I didn't quite commit that name to memory. So I'm sorry, brother, whoever the other writer was. But that's where I got it from. An actor I met, actually. Michael Stuhlbarg. I met him. Well, I didn't officially meet him. He wasn't well known at the time. I saw the closing show of a play on Broadway written by Martin McDonough. I was a freshman in college. I think this was like fall. This is over 20 years ago now. It's the closing show of The Pillow Man. It's Jeff Goldblum. I did speak to him for a while. He's taller than me. It's wild. I'm 6'3". I think he's like 6'5". But Michael Stuhlbarg was fantastic in that play. I'll never forget it. There was also this actor named Jelko Ivanek, who's been in a lot of things. He was recently in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Which, that actually might also be McDonough. I think it might be. I have to look. I feel like that is him. Anyway, it was a really funny movie. It's sad, but it's really funny. Anyway, this Japanese film is called Summer Wars. Samawozu. And there's this magical thing that happens at the end. I won't spoil it. You have to go watch it. But it's so good, man. Every time it gets me. Every single time. And what I was thinking about is, I've seen a lot on social media lately, like, and I think I first heard of this. I like to listen, especially when I'm having a bit of a hard time. Oh, it is gonna go over 15 minutes. All right. Especially when I'm having a hard time with things. I like to listen sometimes to Alan Watts. I very much enjoy listening to Alan Watts, and I know he was a bit of a rascal and can nitpick and pick apart anybody's life. We take people for all in all. I think it's wise we take people for all in all. We remember Michael Jackson for being a wonderful musician and performer. We don't remember him because of problems he was having at the end of his life. We not forget about it or ignore it that it happened, but it's more a sign of the times, I think, than and commentary on the pharmaceutical industry from the little bits I've heard. We don't know all the details, is the point. And compassion dictates that we try to, be a little bit more aware of what people are going through. That that means being aware of how much we don't know about their experience. This is my opinion. But one thing that has been coming up, and it resonates because it plugs back into something I've heard Watts talk about many times. And it's the idea of, what if you knew it was all going to work out? Like, whatever it is in your life, the right career, the right partner, the right marriage, the right wedding, the right, everything. What if you just knew it was just going to work out? You're going to be walking on a beach with your soulmate at, some point. How would you live now, today, if you knew that was what was going to happen? Would you be less in a rush? Would you be less anxious? Would you be less angry? Would you speak more slowly? Would you laugh more? Would you smile more? Would you have more fun? Would you miss fewer moments? Miss really being here less? What I want to say to you tonight, good people, what if you knew? Like, let's just pretend for a second that you knew that you matter. And that all it really would take to end this madness, this reign of terror this guy has brought into our lives, him and all his cronies, all the, establishment, I don't want to call them names, but the fools, the establishment fools out there, the McConnells, the Thunes, what is that other guy's name? Barrasso. It's an Italian name. That's a shame. Paisan. It sounds like an Italian name. It might not be, but it sounds like it. But what if you knew that all it was going to take to actually fix this is for you to do something? Not to keep scrolling and roll your eyes, it's not going to go anywhere, to dispense with that cynical charade for a few minutes and actually just, what if all it was took is just, you hit the send button and you click the first three names and boom. And every time you see this, boom. Or just hit the repost button, boom. What if that was all it took to fix this? Or do your own thing. Like I said, do what you feel is right. Do your own thing. Make your own video. Hey, guys, somebody did this. You don't have to credit me. I don't care. I helped out 30,000 of you in Southern California in 2018. I haven't taken credit for it. Officially, I can't. I never will. It doesn't matter. But it happened. It really happened. I can prove it. I can prove it with clear and convincing evidence, and I don't lie anyway, so. I mean, even if I walk past a homeless man and do you have any change? No, and I realize actually I do have $1 in my wallet, and I'm like, all right. I don't like to give money to people like this. I don't know what they're going to use it for. I prefer to, you look like you're hungry, I'll take them into Chipotle or something, get them food. I did that a few weeks ago. The guy was really grateful. And bless the hearts of the staff there. They barely charged me anything. They were closing. It's like $6. We got this guy this whole plate of food. It's great. Blessings on those employees. They don't make very much. When they do those whole buy one, get one deals and it's lines out the door, I ask them, do they pay you more on days like this? No. What if you knew? What if you knew all it really would take is you doing something? Like, I'm taking a little time every day, committing 100 days to my country. This doesn't matter, but I've decided I'm not gonna have a single beer. I mean, maybe a non-alcoholic one, but I'm not gonna touch beyond tea, cup of coffee, I'm not going to touch. I don't usually. I mean, it interferes with my meditation practice, but I'm 100 days. I'm giving 100 days of service to my country. Because I believe this is all it's going to take. There's enough of us realizing we can and we must do something. Not tomorrow, not after breakfast, not after the midterms. Now. Hit send. Send this to somebody. Hey, or make your own. Hey, this guy, cares what his name is. This guy started doing this. I think it's a good idea. I'm doing it. Take this, send it to 3 people, or repost it, or make your own. But let's go. Come on. Let's trust fall into this. We act as if we know it's going to work out. How would we behave? How would I behave right now if I knew that this was enough to take down the beast that he has become? I would probably sleep better. I'd probably eat better. I probably, it's been a little rough lately. I had to move suddenly. Some unusual and unexpected personal life developments. It was a blow. When I get stressed out, the first thing that happens is my appetite vanishes. So I start losing weight. I've lost almost 40 pounds when I was in the middle of learning the law, fighting the real estate companies, and got it back. Broke 180 pounds last year for the first time. Probably lost 15 pounds in the last 2 months, but I'll get it back. But how would I behave right now? I would probably be doing this and encouraging you to do the same. I would do exactly what I'm doing right now if I really knew it was going to work out. I don't think I would be like, guys, I saw the future and this is, no, because that sounds stupid. Even if it were true, it sounds stupid. It's crazy. How could I ever prove that? No. I really, really, really think this will work. I know it'll work. I've helped out more of you than any of us would ever sit down and count. None of us is ever going to sit down and count 30,000 numbers. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'd be there for hours and hours and hours and hours. Long, long time. I mean, what is it? All right, hold on. Let's find out real quick. Let's do it. 60 seconds in 60 minutes, okay? That's 3,600 seconds in an hour. So you'd have to basically, what is that? That's 10 hours. Well, okay, no, that's like 8 hours. It'd take you like 8 hours. You're not going to ever sit down and for 8 hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're never going to do that. I did that alone. Think about what we could do if we do this together. I can't do this alone. I can't. Even if I know someone on Instagram has like 9.4 million followers. I'm on the fence about whether to hit her up. We knew each other very briefly when we were kids in Japan, but I might hit her up and be like, hey, like, you could help with this. She's not American, so I don't know. But even if I had that many followers, it wouldn't, I couldn't do this myself. Just putting it out there, if someone didn't watch it and take up the mantle themselves and pass it along like I'm encouraging you to do, it wouldn't matter. So let's pretend right now, just for a few minutes, that, like, you pretend right now for a few minutes, this is all going to work out. there's going to be world peace. World peace. But really, you can laugh at it, mock it, look it down your nose at it, talk about it in some sardonic tone like I just did. But that's not really believing it. I mean, like, just for a minute, let yourself really, really go there in your mind. It's going to end. Just like that. If you watched the first video in this series, you saw me with the gauntlet on. Just for fun, but why not? Why not? I didn't put that together. I mean, I recognize the pieces fit, but I didn't do that. I didn't buy a purple stone for this finger. I didn't buy a labradorite bluish looking stone for this one, and I didn't give myself an ancient Roman ring and a carnelian ring, and I didn't give myself a moldavite ring for the thumb. I didn't make it all fit where it does. I don't know why they decided on that construction of the gauntlet anyway. If you watch, what is it? I think it's Avengers Age of Ultron. They have Thor has a vision, and he sees the stones in this vision, and they line up on this, like, it's like almost like a nebula, but it looks like the gauntlet hand, and they're in a totally different position then. So it was an evolving thing, it seems. But the orange ring doesn't fit on my thumb. I cannot get it on my thumb. So I guess there could be some shuffling, but it's just interesting. We all think we're driving the car in life. But really, it's a process that started, that never really started. It's like continuum. It never started, it never ended. It's hard to understand that because we're, from such a young age, we glaze this programming, this framework of understanding over reality. We see things in terms of starts and stops. We see birth as a start, death as a stop, but it's not really like that. It's this fluid experience of consciousness. Consciousness is eternal in my experience. So we're used to compartmentalizing things, but I'm digressing tonight. I guess I'm a little tired, but I need to go. This is like 30 minutes, but this is really important, guys. Just for like a solid minute, I challenge you tonight. I'm trying to challenge the president here. Help me, please. Unleash me on these people. They're no match. They aren't. But just like for a minute tonight, I challenge you, like, put your phone down and close your eyes, and for a minute, just sit there and really let yourself go there. Give yourself permission. Just like we always plan, a lot of us plan for the worst, which is not a far step away from assuming the worst, which is unhealthy. We plan for the worst outcomes. I got a guy I know. He's older than I am. He said to me one time, excuse me, I yawn. He said to me one time, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, like, you can add a healthy counterweight to all the planning for the worst by giving yourself permission now and again, not all the time, but to live in like I'm saying to you tonight, the fantasy that this all works out exactly as you hope it will. And maybe even better than you hope it will. So I challenge you tonight, give yourself permission for maybe just a minute. Set a timer if you want, whatever. Or just sit quietly until you feel like it's time for you to move again and open your eyes. Just sit quietly. And this all worked out. Everything went better than you expected it. The beast got locked up in a cage where it belongs, where he belongs. You know, all this lock her up, lock her up. Well, karma. Send out those waves, man. It's hateful waves. But that happened, and we had a new generation of politicians in Congress. We had a convention of states. We amended the Constitution. We, us, millennials, Gen Z, the alpha kids younger than Gen Z are there on the sidelines, maybe like staring at all this in awe, like, wow, they don't know what's going on. Talk to some of them. They're smart kids, they are. But what if that's like our legacy? That's what we do, and then this old guard, this old way of looking at the world in terms of hierarchy and in terms of warmongering and, you know, looking at oil reserves and putting up with all these atrocities committed by certain leaders of certain countries because they have oil and stuff like that, and like, you know, fist bumping them and stuff like that, and on the world stage, it's like, ugh, like, but all this stuff just washed away just like that. Let's imagine that. Just give yourself permission, or however it works out for you. It all worked out. We're looking back on it now. Everybody's hopeful. The economy is doing great. We put the, billionaires in check. Corporations are being taxed fairly. Things are balancing out. Everybody maybe got a big check from all these billion-dollar companies and people and stuff like that aren't sharing and are taking advantage of people and pretending they're successful while they're glad handing themselves behind lawyers and closed doors and, willfully avoiding facing the harm that they're causing in the lives of millions of people. I love the question, why are you billionaires? Thank you, Billie Eilish. That's brilliant. It's well said. Here. But it all worked out. We're just looking back on it. We're flipping through a classroom history textbook in 10 or 15 years, and there's pictures of Donald Trump in there, and whole section in U.S. history about this, and about Mitch McConnell's and all this dark stuff, dark times, and maybe even a second American Revolution, they start calling it. A non-violent spiritual revolution. It just caught fire like a match dropped in a gas tank and just spread all over the world, and suddenly it became unpopular to be corrupt. And it was suddenly good people were being listened to and promoted and given a chance to lead by example. And there will be more, mishaps and corrupt growth and dealings, and there will be future challenges, but we're looking back and it all worked out, and wow, what a close call that was. What a close shave. We got out of there by the skin of our teeth, as they say. How would we behave if that happened right now? We would be like, oh man. Boy, what an exciting time to live this has been. I wouldn't want to have been born at any other time. If I knew all this worked out and there was hope and we were seeing fewer homeless people because we were helping them, and there were fewer things outlawed that shouldn't be outlawed, and people have natural curiosities in exploring their consciousness, and we should be helping educate them, and We were paying teachers like we pay doctors and lawyers, like I hear they do in Scandinavia. Bravo to those people. And it wasn't good people running scared. It was not so good people who are running scared until they learn and just come back into the fold. Just start acting like a real American here. If we did that, if that was the result of this, wouldn't it just almost move you to tears? Wouldn't you almost just be like, wow. Boy, we really didn't know how that was going to shake out, but man, am I glad it worked out. And maybe it wouldn't have worked out if it wasn't for me. All I had to do was, this is not video game controller. This is your phone hitting that paper airplane button. Anyway, that's enough for tonight. I can talk. Anyway, I got so much love and respect for you guys. This is really hard. It's hard and it sucks that it falls to us, but it does. Things didn't used to be like this. It didn't used to be like we're living in a vice grip, like we're being slowly, economically slaughtered. It has to keep changing. It can do something. It really can. Just try. What's the worst that could happen? I don't know. I'm tired of thinking about the worst possible outcomes. I'm alive. I belong here now in this moment. I'll leave you with this tonight, guys. I don't know if this is my idea or not. Maybe some physicist has thought of this, but I haven't heard of it before from anyone else. So, if you like, you can say you heard it here first. I understand the heart of the universe to not be a point in space. The heart of the universe is this moment in time, right now. This moment in time, right now. Every living thing, no matter how far away, they could be 10 billion light years away. Every single living thing. Maybe it has a heart, this living thing. Whatever it is, whatever vibrations its body naturally produces, whatever pulse, whatever understanding of time it has in its culture, it is unified with us in this present moment, no matter how far away. We are all experiencing this same moment. This moment is the heart of the cosmos. This is where we belong. This is when we belong. So what's the worst that could happen? Well, I'm tired of going there in my head. We belong now. The present is the province of the living. Peace and love to you guys. Boy, that's amazing. That was 40 minutes. Ugh. I gotta pare these down a little bit. But it's important. It really is. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow for day 6. Oh, I'm gonna say it one more time. Why not? Donald Trump, you're fired. Day 5. All right, bye for now.